Mr. Shapiro, are you surprised at the verdict?
I'm surprised at how quickly the verdict came back. This is a case where everyone in the world had an opinion, and no one seemed to be able to agree. And the fact that this jury not only reached a unanimous decision, but reached it instantly, I think was a surprise to everyone in the courtroom.
Do you think there was one defining thing that won the case? Was it the glove? Was it the time period?
No, I think it was a critical overview of all of the evidence. First, everyone had described this as the most bloody crime scene they'd ever seen, and that the perpetrator should be covered with blood. There was no evidence of that. There were no scratches on OJ Simpson. We took him in for a medical examination immediately, and there was no evidence of any struggle whatsoever. And then you have a detective who was caught lying on the witness stand, but reasonable doubt on every key piece of crucial evidence.
You've been called the architect of the defense team. You were the first one hired by OJ Simpson. It was the day after the murders. What was the strategy then? Did it hold?
The strategy was consistent immediately. OJ told me, I didn't do this, and let's do whatever we can to find who did do this. Initially, I wanted to hire the best forensic people in the world, who were witnesses who generally work for government agencies and testify for the prosecution.
So you got them on your side?
Immediately hired Michael Dodden and Henry Lee, the two best in forensic science, and had them out here within 24 hours.
Who hired Johnny Cochran?
I did.
Johnny Cochran was hired not just because he was a good lawyer, but because he was black?
Combination of both.
Mr. Shapiro, you said in the beginning that race would not be a determining part of this case, that you would not play the race card. The race card was surely played.
Barbara, my position was always the same, that race would not and should not be a part of this case. I was wrong. Not only did we play the race card, we dealt it from the bottom of the deck.
But if you were in charge of the defense, did it just get away from you? What happened?
Well, the trial aspect of the case changed, and Johnny Cochran was in charge of the overall strategy of presenting the defense that had been done and created earlier on.
There was, of course, a great deal of controversy about Johnny Cochran comparing Fuhrman to Hitler and racism to the Holocaust. How do you feel about that?
I was deeply offended. To me, the Holocaust stands alone as the most horrible human event in modern civilization. And with the Holocaust comes Adolf Hitler. And to compare this man in any way to a rogue cop, in my opinion, was wrong.
Did you tell Johnny Cochran how you felt?
Yes.
What did he say?
He said, you're entitled to your opinion and you can express it.
Did you know that he was going to do this in his summation?
No, I did not.
It was a surprise to you?
Yes.
Do you think Johnny Cochran's summation had an effect on the jury's verdict?
I don't believe so. I think this jury, early on, had doubts about this case.
Did you try on the glove before O.J. Simpson did?
Yes. Right before their glove expert was testifying, he was examining the glove.
And what did you conclude?
They didn't fit me well. And so I went back and compared my hand to OJ's, which was probably 1.5 times the size of my hand.
His hand?
His hand. And I knew instantly that the glove would not fit.
So, of course, you knew that when O.J. Simpson tried on that glove, that it wouldn't fit.
There was no chance. I walked into the lockup and I said, you're going to be asked to try on these gloves. They will not fit you.
So do it.
And he looked at me and he said, that's what I've been telling you. That's what I've been saying.
Quite a few months ago, it began to seem that it was you on one side and Johnny Cochran and F. Lee Bailey on the other, and that your team was split.
There was a difference in the defense team and in strategic ways that things should be presented. And that's good.
Oh, come on.
No, it is good.
To be divisive?
It is good because it gives different points of view.
But should there be animosity among the lead members of the defense team?
There was not animosity between myself and Mr. Cochran. There were serious differences of opinion, and still are.
Who hired F. Lee Bailey? Did you?
It was my desire to have him behind the scenes, to rely on his great wisdom and his brain power, but I did not feel that he should be in the courtroom.
So you did not want him there, and he was, and he did cross-examination.
That's correct.
You speak of differences with Johnny Cochran. What are the major differences?
Well, the difference on the racial issue.
Mm-hmm.
He believes that everything in America is related to race. I do not. I do not agree with him on the use of the Nation of Islam to protect him. I thought that sent an improper message.
Minister Farrakhan's members.
Correct.
Had it been a hung jury, would you have been a member of the defense team again? My
wife has suffered greatly through this. With that consideration and also with the racial issue, the way it was brought up, I had concluded that I would not participate in a retrial.
How much of a role did OJ Simpson himself have in the defense team and in the strategy?
I've been trying cases for 25 years. He was the most active person I have ever represented. He knows every aspect of this case.
Why didn't O.J. Simpson take the stand? Was that your decision, Johnny Cochran's decision, or his decision?
Initially, it was my decision. O.J. always wanted to take the stand. Mr. Cochran and Mr. Bailey thought he should take the stand. If O.J. Simpson testified and made one mistake, he would be convicted.
He would be
convicted.
Couldn't take
and
that
we
chance.
couldn't take that chance. I couldn't take that chance, and that's what I advised him.
What do you think of Judge Ito in this case?
Judge Ito gave us the most important thing in this case, and that was the right to talk to the jury.
Before the trial?
Before the trial. In jury selection, Mr. Cochran and myself spoke individually to every juror for a significant amount of time. And because of that, we were confident that we had a jury that would be fair and impartial. And if they were fair and impartial and followed the law, there would clearly be reasonable doubt.
What did you think of Judge Ito during the actual trial?
Like some of the lawyers in the case, Judge Ito, unfortunately, was seduced early on by the media. He also was very indulgent with lawyers, which is very nice for lawyers, but it doesn't move the case along quickly.
Tell me about how this case has affected you. You have gone places and been cheered. People ask for your autographs. At another time, you were jeered at a football game?
At a Laker game.
At a Laker game. I understand President Clinton sought you out. King Hussein, when he was here, wanted to discuss King Hussein of Jordan, the case with you. What has this done to your life?
It's changed it enormously, but I think once the furor of this case dies down, so will the attention on the lawyers.
If you had it to do all over again, would you do anything differently in this case?
Well, I'd probably do a lot of things differently, but I'd still be involved in this case. There's been high points and low points, but it's an experience that I will have with me the rest of my life, and I would not have missed it.
Would you work again on a case with Johnny Cochran?
No.
Would you work on a case again with F. Lee Bailey?
I will not talk to F. Lee Bailey again.
Would you work on a case again with Barry Scheck?
Yes. But I don't think that opportunity will arise.
Thank you, Mr. Shapiro.
Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to say things that have been on my mind for the last 16 months.